This is episode 316 of the Super League Pod, and we know you're playing this expecting a rant. Don't worry, you'll get one. Plus, we conclude the summer's biggest transfer saga, York make more waves in the women's news, and we discuss the new statue proposal at Headingley. Playoff chases get interesting across the Rugby League world. We make our own ill-judged guesses for how it will play out in Super League, and a quiz for you, Dr. Bob. Strap in, it's SLP time. Hello listeners, welcome along to episode 316 of the Super League Pod. You have myself, Mark. I'm joined this week by Alan. Hiya, Alan.
Hello everybody. Hi Mark, how you doing?
I'm alright. There's nothing happened this weekend, so no games, no drama, nothing, no meltdowns at all. So
all smooth sailing then.
So I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but yeah. Do you want to tell everyone about our sponsor?
Yes, so this episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. You can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league, birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers if you put SLP discount in at checkout.
Good stuff. Thanks Rob's Toy Shop for their continued support. So what have we got coming up today? Well, Alan, on this week's show, we have got the conclusion to the the biggest news saga of the Super League Pod summer. So we've got that to bring you in the news. A few other bits of this player's injured and now won't play again. Unfortunate pieces of news to talk about too. It was Rivals Round. I'm not gonna keep pretending that it didn't happen. It was Rivals Round in the Super League, and around that dished up some of the worst rugby league that we've had to endure, and the whole derby as well, which wasn't so bad. So we'll talk all about that. We've got a championship team won their first game in Super League this year. That was good. So we'll talk about that too in the Rivals Round recaps, and then the Women's Super League was back, wasn't it, at the top table, the playoffs. So we'll talk about the games from that, as well as all the other results from around the league. And then we've got predictions for the midweek Super League games that we've got coming up this week. So plenty to get to. Probably by the time some of you listen to this, some of those games might have already happened, which will mean you get to see sort of earlier this week how stupid our predictions and guesses are. But we'll get to those in a little while, because we're going to have to start with the news.
So we start with the news, and it's the mahoosive story of the week.
There was no other one we could lead with, was there?
No, there is. We might not even talk about any other news. Wakefield Trinity have signed Liam Hood. That's not it. And Tom Lynham from fellow Super League sides Leeson Shearings and Warrington Wolves, respectively. Hood has penned a 2-year deal, while Lynham has signed until the end of 2024. Lynham, who's 28, lifted the Challenge Cup with Warrington in 2012 and helped his team to make 2 grand final appearances.
He's been at Warrington that long?
I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because
is that right?
Well, it might be wrong.
Or the BBC led us astray when I've copied and pasted.
Well, that's 9 years ago, and he's 28. That can't be right. How old was he when he left Hull?
No, it meant, obviously it's the typo. He won it in 2019 with Warrington, after moving to Warrington in 2016.
There you go. That sounds more like it.
Yeah.
Also at Trin, Reece Lynn and Brad Walker have signed new deals. Lynn, 28, will extend his 8-year stay at Bellevue until the end of 2025. Walker will remain in red, white and blue until the end of next year, having joined from Widnes Vikings in 2020. And Lee Whitnell got in touch on the big news story of the week, said it's been a transfer saga that's gripped the rugby league world this summer, but finally Tom has put all the speculation to bed. And he says, overall, he's been a net positive for us, whilst never fully delivering on the promise that his genetics suggested. Off-field ill-discipline, on-field recklessness, and the revelation that he likes Boris are the low points I'll choose to forget in favour of that 2018 semi-final try.
And of course, EFC78JU got in touch on this story that he's been following for us throughout the summer, whether we've asked for it or not. EFC said, "Who would have thought Tom Lynham snubbed playing with his teammate Blake Austin at Leeds Rhinos to go to Wakey? Hopefully, he has the time of year of winning games and play more and claim trophies for the club." So obviously, we know EFC is going to miss Tom Lynham at Warrington and wishes him well. And it's Wakefield where he's ended up. Anything to say on this one?
No, not really. So I kind of agree with Lee in that he's flattered to deceive quite often. My recollections of him are for some of the kind of shithousery that he's done on the field. He never strikes me as, he's not going into Wakefield as their best winger, is he? They've got another winger that's better already. I don't know. I can't say I'm particularly excited about wherever Tom Lynham plays next year.
The Liam Hood one interested me because, he's been captain, hasn't he, at Lee? He's been quite important for them in the last couple of years. He seemed to have kind of established himself there, kind of had a home there, but obviously Wakefield see him as a Super League player, and the likelihood is he wouldn't be if he was at Lee still next year. Obviously, giving a long contract extension to Reece Lynn makes absolute sense. He's a real leadership player at that club. And so you can totally get that, and I think he's deserved it as well. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I mean he's arguably the best player in the club. So yeah, without
get a testimonial, won't you? Within that 3 years, you'd have to think.
You would say so, yes.
Shall we fact check that too? Whilst we're at it.
Well, if he's got 8 years and end of 2025, that makes 11 to me. So you'd think so.
Yeah. 2012 was his first appearances for them, so yeah.
Very good.
Okay, on to other news. St Helens captain James Roby has signed a new 1-year contract to remain with the reigning Super League champions for a 19th season. The 35-year-old academy graduate has spent his entire career with the club and has made 385, I guess that's 386 now, appearances, a figurehead in the St Helens side. During his tenure, Roby has also won caps for England and Great Britain. A glittering career goes on 1 more year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we were talking about another year extension about this time next year either. He doesn't seem to be aging particularly fast. He's still playing a lot, isn't he? His body doesn't appear at the moment to be breaking down like, mentioning players like Sean O'Loughlin, kind of his body started to. You don't really get that impression from Roby. I get the sense that if he wants to sign a new contract in 12 months, he probably could.
No, and they've sort of they don't play him 80 minutes every week now. They seem to never play him 80 minutes at all now, which is sensible, and it could help prolong things. And he had a couple of seasons, didn't he, where he had long spells out with injury, but they don't seem to be things that are still problems that keep coming back, like some other players have had long recurring injuries that, like Sean O'Loughlin's calf, for example, that seemed to never really get right again.
It feels like he kind of he manages his performances very well now. He knows what his body's capable of and what will,
He knows what he can get away with in more ways than one.
He's a very smart player. He's a very, very smart player, is James Roby.
A brilliant player.
Yes.
I mean, the Super League, it's good for Super League in a way that he's still going because he's a player that everyone watching Super League admires and respects.
Yes. A player at the other end of his career. Salford Red Devils have made their third signing for 2022 by bringing in young hooker Amir Burra from Super League neighbours Wigan Warriors. The 20-year deal with an option for a further year.
He's not kicked on from when he made his debut for Wigan 3 years ago now, I think it was. 2 to 3 years ago. I remember he scored a try in a heavy defeat away at Lille on his debut, and he hasn't kicked on, so it's not a surprise that he's leaving the club with young Brad O'Neill coming through. But I do think he can be a Super League player. I think he's got some of the right qualities, so good luck to him.
Yeah.
In some injuries, captain Tommy Luluai may have played his final game for Wigan after head coach Adrian Lamb confirmed a hamstring injury would end his season. Luluai, who's 36, scored 1 try in 14 games in 2021. He injured himself on the run that scored that try before the injury against Leigh St John's earlier this month, and is out of contract this winter. The 2008 New Zealand World Cup winner has had 2 spells at Wigan, winning the Super League twice and a Challenge Cup. It is a shame if this is the end for Tommy. The more and more it seems to be getting hinted at that he might go round again. I'm not certain that that's the best thing for him to do, but if he does go round again, I can only imagine it won't be as a, first team, first choice, and he'd be more a backup kind of option. But yeah, we'll I suppose we'll see on that. So we'll talk more about his full career when it's confirmed one way or another, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not the way you want to finish it, is it? Particularly, as you say, in more injury news, Hull KR winger Ethan Ryan will miss the rest of the season after suffering a fractured scaphoid in his side's 26-14 win over Wigan. 25-year-old former Bradford player sustained the injury in his first game back from undergoing surgery on the other wrist, which is very, very unlucky, you would say.
Hugely unfortunate, because he was impressive as well, wasn't he, in that game against Wigan? And I'm biased. I think he's a cracking player. But obviously it's he hasn't been particularly injury prone before, so I'm hoping this is just 2 pieces of bad luck that have kind of run into each other, really. So yeah. I just feel like every time he's on the cusp of establishing himself as a Super League player, he gets a setback, and that's a shame. And I really hope that next time he finds a good vein of form, he gets to continue with it rather than something pull him short.
Me too.
Sticking with injuries, Leeds are likely to be without scrum half Luke Gale and centre Conrad Hurrell for the rest of the season. Gale is facing at least 6 weeks out with a knee injury sustained in the Rhinos match at Leigh, whilst Hurrell is facing a similar length of time on the sidelines with a foot injury. One particularly big player for Leeds there, but 2 big players, and Hurrell could be in the has he played his last game for the club conversations as well. Gale too.
Yeah. Yeah, both apply, I think.
Yeah, let's see what happens there.
So Hull KR have confirmed that the club's head of youth, John Bastian, will leave his role on the 31st of August. The Robins have also announced the appointments of Jason Netherton as head of player development and Ben Lazenby as academy general manager. Bastian is returning to Leeds Rhinos in a newly created position as a player pathway development manager. He previously worked on the Rhinos scholarship scheme and rose through the ranks to become head of youth development before leaving the club in 2008. The post-Sinfield restructure continues, you would say. Yeah,
I think it's a good move for Leeds with Bastian's track record.
Yeah.
He's had spells at Bradford and Warrington as well, hasn't he, where he's brought through young players, good quality young players, and it seems like he's always looked upon as one of the best people around for looking after young talent.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's a good thing for Leeds. But, you know, it's not like they've made bad appointments to kind of replace him in what looks